Being judged on public opinion. A lot of people keep telling me stupid, ignorant shit like, you shouldn't care what other people think. Well, people kill each other over what they think. So yes, I fucking should. People do a lot of evil shit to each other, and I'm not one of those people. But also, I'm one of those people who admits when he's wrong. I'm one of those people who admits when he screws up. And as much as I have a great disliking for liars, recently I have had to lie. I lied and said that I would kill the President of the United States. Anybody who knows me knows I ain't gonna go after nobody. But the problem is, I had to prove that it's alright for these people and it's not alright for me. When I tried to go to the police, I got blown off. Told that I just needed to man up while people are assaulting me. And then they use the term mentally ill. Isn't there supposed to be laws against people assaulting the mentally ill? And that's a major issue that I have. See, that's one of the reasons I didn't want to get diagnosed. I'd seen this happen to too many people. They say, you're mentally ill, so it's fine to do whatever we want to you. What I needed was somebody to go in with me to the police station so that I had a fucking witness. I needed somebody to show up at court who'd actually looked through all the shit that I've gone through instead of saying, oh, I believe you, and then fucking ignoring me for 6 goddamn months. 8 goddamn months, whatever. There's a lot of stupid people who thought I was fucking kidding. You can go back and look through all the evidence that I got. It shows that people judged me based on how I looked and judged Natalie based on how she looked. They accused me of being a druggie and a drug dealer. Meanwhile, by her own words, she was the druggie and the drug dealer. Same thing with Alicia, by her own words. Same thing with Danica and Kelly, by their own words. And you know what? Ted's a rapist, by Natalie's own words. I chose to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. The problem is, people keep telling me to do things that I was trying to do over a year ago. Mandy, she told me I needed to get an advocate. Well, fucking duh. Shauna Sinclair, I tried to get a hold of her the day before Natalie disappeared. Try to get an advocate. Try to get help with that and try to get help setting up a GoFundMe. That was before Natalie fucking died. That's so that people like me, who are easily fucking victimized, could have a place where people like Ken and Leah and the border police couldn't victimize us for having nothing. Ken and Leah shouldn't have stolen my money, and the police should have taken my report about that. Now, Miss Peaches can testify to the fact that I went to her house specifically to get a lawyer against Natalie, Maddie, and Ken and Leah. Now, I didn't want it to get to that point. I didn't want the police to have to be involved. But at that point, they needed to be. The police didn't fucking care. To this day, they don't care because of how I was painted by the Bollinger family. Yes, I am absolutely coming after the son of a bitch in Virginia who called me a stalker because I can prove with Natalie's own fucking words that I didn't stalk anyone there. And I should have been allowed an honest day in fucking court where I was allowed to fucking go. You guys get to see more recently how the Border Police Department deals with human beings when they don't consider them human beings. You get to see how they treated that black guy, right? And that college kid that they fucking killed. They do that to homeless people all the time, and nobody bats a fucking eye. That man who was picking up garbage wasn't targeted for the color of his skin. He was targeted because he looked homeless. When I pointed that out, instead of people going, oh man, that's fucked up, they're like, oh yeah, you're right. He does look homeless. You know, Boulder has a real problem with homeless people. Well, you're damn right they do. The whole United States has a problem with homeless people. The biggest problem with homeless people is that we take the blame for everything wrong with your fucking society. Your society that makes it illegal for us to exist and forces us out. I believe if you falsely accuse somebody of something, then you should actually go to prison for whatever extent of time that person being guilty would have netted. Like if you accuse somebody of assault, and you're not the one, you're not, are you? You're not going to accuse somebody of assault if they didn't assault you, are you? But what if you do? Do you think that if you accuse your neighbor of assaulting you because you got into a petty argument, or maybe it's not petty in your mind, but let's say you go over there and you call the police and you fill out a false report, is that something that you should go to jail for? What if that false report results in the police assaulting that person? Should you spend time in jail for that? At what point are you responsible for the words that come out of your mouth? A lot of these people, they're trapped. There were good people who tried to help me out. Tabby's a good person. Josh, the guy who was living with her, is not. Shannon Alvarado, she's a good person. She's just overwhelmed and drinks too much. Sally Treon, man, that is such a fucked up situation there in Pueblo, but they moved back to Las Vegas. Her telling me about her husband beating her up just 2 weeks earlier. And then her daughter getting dragged through the house and kicked in the face. I told Miss Jerry about that. Why did I tell Miss Jerry instead of the police? Because the police don't listen. That's why I put everything on Facebook. Hoping that someone will do exactly what these fucking web wing nuts did, except for me. See, these web wing nuts went through and just found the parts that they can use to try to paint me as a bad guy. Whereas my friends didn't pay any attention to what the fuck is going on. A lot of people, they had good intentions, but they didn't fucking listen. It didn't register to them that what they're doing is costing me time and money. Like my dad with our original agreement. That didn't happen. Instead, I got this thing that I can't afford, and I had to deal with him treating me like shit. There's a lot of places I was at where I wasn't treated like shit. There are. Now, at Shannon's, yeah, I was pretty well in shutdown mode the whole time I was there. Not because she was treating me like shit, but because she was treating other people like shit, or she was busy screaming all day. I needed to make phone calls during the day. She's like, oh, well, why don't you do that at night? Because Zanny's up during the day. And, of course, she's screaming at Zanny not to throw things around all day long and not to pull her hair and stuff like that. So she doesn't want... You know, if I'm talking to the cops or whatever, she doesn't want that in the background and have people think that she's a bad mom who beats her kids, because she's not. But she's afraid of what other people think, and that's the point. She's one of those people who said, you shouldn't care what other people think, but then she cares what other people think. With Dan Faber, she could have explained that she is an alcoholic to him and that that's where the issues are. But she wanted to do it without telling him that. She was like, you know, I can talk to Dan for you. I can talk to Dan for you. I can talk to Dan for you. No, don't. Don't. I'm not going to get treated like shit by Dan every time there's an argument he takes somebody else's side. He doesn't bother to find out the situation before taking sides, and he thinks that, just like most people, that their opinion is more important than what I'm saying, because I'm telling them straight up what's happening. And they're like, well, in my opinion, no, fuck your opinion. That's what fucking happened here, is people gave more of a shit about their goddamn opinions than finding out the fucking facts. There's a lot of people that were not abusive to me, but I was in abusive environments. Like the whole time I was at Miss Tabby's, there was only one person there who was abusive. One. His name is Josh. He was the only one who was abusive there. When you're being abusive in front of your kids, keep in mind that's what your kids are learning. When you deal with your problems by drinking or doing drugs, keep in mind that's what your kids are learning. For me, I didn't learn from my parents because I didn't grow up with them. I grew up in the system. I grew up with the kids who got fucked up by their parents. I grew up with people like Natalie, who cut themselves because daddy touched them and mommy didn't care. But I'm not allowed to say that, am I? I'm supposed to take the blame. I'm supposed to take the punishment. Without an honest day in court. The police went out of their way to prevent me from reporting against the other police officers. They did everything that they could, including everywhere that I was at, them posing as investigators, but not writing anything down. When I was in Arapahoe County, one of the officers told me, you know, the only people in here who can actually take your report are the ones with gold on their badges. There weren't very many people with gold on their badges, but Deputy Vigil pretended he was going to take a report, and he didn't. Deputy Cook pretended she was going to take one, but she didn't. Sorry, Deputy Miller, not Cook. Deputy Cook said that he was gonna, but he didn't. At least in Arapahoe County, I was able to get their names, whereas I was physically abused in Boulder County, and they refused to give me their names. I was able to get some of them and write them with paint. I peeled some paint off the wall and wrote it in paint. But they threw that away as garbage, which destroyed evidence. They knew what it was. Officers in every fucking place that I was destroyed evidence. Refused to take a report. You know, I had such problems in the jails because every day and every night, all I was trying to do was get a police officer to show up and take my fucking report. When I'm having a panic attack, the first thing to go are names and numbers. So I write them down, but they kept on taking away my ability to use a pencil. When I was assaulted at the Boulder County Jail, or assaulted in January of last year at the Boulder County Hospital, they should have taken pictures of my wrists as soon as I got inside of the jail. They should have given me the names of the officers who assaulted me, and I should have been allowed to make a report, but I wasn't. I was prevented from being allowed to do that. And then I have to deal with crazy wingnuts like Cara Rogers, a.k.a. Cara Mia, or Kara Johnson, a.k.a. Kara Miles. People like Shelley, you know, all of this could have been remedied with the truth all the way back in Virginia. Now, the first people I'm going after are the Bollingers. They fucking lied outright in Virginia. So, I need to get them on the stand. Meanwhile, they've made it illegal for me to speak out against the Bollingers. Made it illegal for me to do anything to defend myself legally or financially. Taken away my ability to defend myself financially. Taken away my ability to take care of myself financially, physically, or mentally. This should not be allowed to happen to human beings. I see why Natalie killed herself with a family like that.